The Green River, a peaceful name, a picturesque image. But beneath the surface, a darkness lurked. A monster moved in the shadows, its hunting ground, the outskirts of Seattle, Washington. Its prey, young women, often vulnerable, forgotten by society. The Green River Killer was a predator who stalked the night, leaving behind a trail of bodies and a legacy of fear. For over 2 decades, fear gripped the Pacific Northwest. From 1982 to 1998, the body count rose. The victims, mostly women involved in sex work, were found discarded along the Green River and its tributaries. Each discovery brought fresh horror, each murder another blow to an already reeling community. The killer, a phantom, seemed to vanish into thin air after each crime. Gary Ridgway, the man who would become synonymous with the Green River Killer, had a type. He targeted marginalized women, those he believed were less likely to be missed. Sex workers, runaways, drug addicts. They were invisible to many, but to Ridgway, they were easy prey. His method was frightening in its simplicity. Ridgway would approach these women, often offering money for sex. He would gain their trust, lure them into his vehicle, a green pickup truck that would later become infamous. Then, the monster within him would surface. He would strangle his victims, often with his bare hands, leaving their bodies to be discovered in the forested areas surrounding the Green River. What made the Green River Killer case even more terrifying was Ridgway's utterly ordinary appearance. He was the epitome of normal. A truck painter by trade, he blended seamlessly into everyday life. Neighbors described him as quiet, even friendly. Co-workers knew him as reliable, even boring. Behind this facade of normalcy, however, a dark truth lurked. Ridgway was leading a double life, a seemingly ordinary man harboring a monstrous secret. He was a predator hiding in plain sight. The Green River Killer case became an obsession for law enforcement. Detectives worked tirelessly, following every lead, interviewing countless individuals desperate to stop the killings. Yet, Ridgway, a master manipulator, remained elusive. He was careful, meticulous, leaving little to no physical evidence at the crime scenes. Years turned into a decade, and the case went cold. The families of the victims waited for answers, for justice, but the Green River Killer remained a ghost, a terrifying enigma. As traditional investigative methods failed to yield results, a new tool emerged in the field of forensic science: DNA profiling. It was a game changer, offering a glimmer of hope in a case long gone cold. In the early 1980s, when the Green River murders began, DNA technology was in its infancy. However, by the late 1990s, advancements in the field allowed for a more sensitive and accurate analysis of biological samples. The evidence collected from those early crime scenes, meticulously preserved, would finally have its say. In 2001, the long silence was broken. DNA evidence, re-examined using new technology, provided a definitive link to Gary Ridgway. The man who had lived in the shadows for so long, the seemingly ordinary truck painter, was finally unmasked as the Green River Killer. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. The monster who had haunted the Pacific Northwest for almost 2 decades had a name, a face. The news brought a mixture of relief and disbelief. Relief because the killing had stopped. Disbelief because the man they had caught was capable of such horrific acts. Faced with irrefutable DNA evidence, Gary Ridgway struck a deal to avoid the death penalty. In a chilling and emotionless confession, he admitted to the murders of 48 women, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in U.S. history. His confessions offered a glimpse into the mind of a monster. Ridgway described his crimes in detail, revealing a chilling detachment from the suffering he inflicted. He saw his victims as objects, not human beings, their lives disposable. While Ridgway's conviction brought a sense of closure, it also reopened old wounds. For the families of the victims, the pain of loss was compounded by years of unanswered questions, of living with the unknown. Even with Ridgway behind bars, the true extent of his crimes remains uncertain. He hinted that there could be more victims, their identities lost to time and his own warped memory. The Green River Killer case, though officially closed, continues to cast a long shadow. In exchange for his cooperation, Ridgway was spared the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a sentence that ensures he will spend the rest of his days behind bars. While some advocated for the death penalty, the plea deal brought a swift resolution to the case and provided crucial information that helped bring closure to the families of some victims. It also eliminated the risk of Ridgway ever walking free again. The Green River Killer case serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of those living on the fringes of society. The victims, often overlooked and forgotten, became targets for a predator who exploited their circumstances. Their stories underscore the importance of compassion, of recognizing the humanity in every individual, regardless of their circumstances. The case also highlighted the critical role of forensic science, particularly DNA technology, in solving complex crimes. Even decades later, the Green River Killer case continues to fascinate and horrify. It is a chilling testament to the capacity for evil that can lurk beneath the surface of the most ordinary-seeming individuals. The case serves as a reminder that monsters don't always hide in the shadows. They can walk among us, hidden in plain sight, their true nature concealed behind a mask of normalcy. The Green River Killer may be behind bars, but the fear he instilled, the lives he took, and the questions that remain continue to haunt the collective memory.